Right, so I've got a bucket of water here, and I'm going to put that straight into my side bucket. So, a question that someone asked me was, how wet do you have your washer? So I just took it straight out of that bucket, and it dripped a bit, and I just turned it round and went straight into my bucket, because I want most of the time my washer to last as long as possible until I get to a new tap source or new wherever I can wet my washer again. Most of the jobs that I do are small, but I want as much longevity as possible. From working indoors, if I'm only doing a small job where it doesn't really mean that I need a really saturated washer, then I'll take off the excess as and when. But most of the time, on most of my jobs, I have a very wet washer. The downfall of having a wet washer is you can lose control with the first few jobs that you do, or first few windows you do, and you can get a wet leg. Just talking about this new bucket that I've been using for about since March last year. I haven't talked about it because when I first got it, I got a wet leg within 20 seconds of using it. And when I emailed the company saying, look, I asked you specifically, does it keep my leg dry? Because I'm so used to having bucket on the belts give me a wet leg, and I've to modify everything to make it work better. And he said, definitely you're going to keep a dry leg. And within 20 seconds of using it, that's what happened. So I complained, and he said, well, you're the first person to ever say that. Now, I don't know whether that's true or not, but if it is true, maybe the reason why no one else is complaining is because they don't have a saturated washer. So if you rinse out your washer all the time, then you will save yourself from getting a wet leg. So I like as much solution as possible to last. I want my washer to last a long time. I want my rubbers to last a long time. I want my squeegee technique to be at the highest quality. I want either longevity with a tool or quickness within how I'm working. So yeah, I want my washer to last as long as possible, and I gauge how long that washer is going to last on each and every job that I'm doing. Right, so when I've got a wet washer, I want to focus on getting the big window done first. I don't want to concentrate on the small window because I haven't got much surface area to rub on. And I want to work up here. I'm only going to do these two windows, but this window is not fully done because I haven't gone right to the edges. But I'm going to use my hand, my trusty scrub glove, and then I'm going to put my tool in the right place at the right time. So it is saturated, but I didn't want it too saturated, and I don't want those drips. So here we go. Now we can put the tool in the right place at the right time. Not working fast, not making the squeegee work really long. Just put it in the right place at the right time. Work very efficiently and effectively without making loads of splash marks because you're going too fast with the squeegee. So after that's window's been done and all these other windows have been done, it will start drying out a bit, and then the solution will be more controllable because at the moment it's very heavy because it's very saturated. But you know, you have to gauge, nothing's perfect in life, so you have to gauge things, so you have to be more into control with certain aspects when it's really wet, and then when it starts drying out it works really well, and then it starts drying out even more, and then it doesn't work so well, so you need to go to your next sort of tap source or take your bucket around with you. Whatever the job you're doing, just gauge it. But I like a wet washer, and that allows me to work at a very high level for a long time with one dip of the washer. Right, so I've got another question I need to answer. It's dog earring. What do I think about dog earring? Well, I never thought anything good about dog earring 11-12 years ago, and what I've noticed is when it comes to people talking about dog earring, they modify the channel to get more percentage work done on the glass. It's never 100%. It's nowhere near 100%. It's probably about maximum 20% less detailing that needs to be done. So what they all got in common, all these people talking about dog earring on YouTube, what they all got in common, they will modify the channel, but they will never modify the way that it works. So every single one of these window cleaners that say modify your channel and you'll get great results, every single one on the nail is, in my opinion, inefficient, ineffective window cleaners. Dog earring is ineffective and inefficient. Their squeegee methods, their soap solutions, their techniques is inefficient and ineffective every single time. So when people say, oh, well, I did dog earring, I didn't do dog earring. Dog earring is inefficient and ineffective. I sculpted the channel to be as, let's say, as dynamic as possible within the range that I could do with an existing channel. Now they look like this, so I don't need to do any more sculpting of the channels because they've all been done. And what also I did, which was much more than dog earring, was I showed what I did compared to other people and say, with the benefits of working like this, using this soap solution, using two hands, using blah blah blah, I can get much better results with an improved designing channel as well. This is prior to the liquidator coming out. That is the difference between what I did and what everybody else does. And quite often these other window cleaners will say, well, this is how I used the tool, and every single time it's ineffective and inefficient in comparison to what I do and teach and talk about. So dog earring, don't waste your time with it. Completely ineffective and inefficient. And the next question, so why don't I use too much water-fed pole? So most of the jobs that I do can be done quicker with the traditional method. Most of my jobs. That doesn't mean it's going to be the case for other people, for two reasons. They might have different types of jobs, and most window cleaners can use the water-fed pole a lot more efficiently and effectively in comparison to using a squeegee, because they lack squeegee skills. And pretty much most window cleaners around the world dramatically lack squeegee skills. So of course the water-fed pole will be beneficial, but I'll tell you the reason why I don't want to do it is because most of the work that I do is downstairs. I do a lot of indoor work as well, and personally for me, if I'm using water-fed pole on this is say these standard windows here, and I'm doing it with a squeegee, I'm going to get these windows cleaned quicker. I'm going to get more work done in less time, and I can trust my tool and my technique. And if I make a mistake, hopefully I'll notice it with my eyes, with a line or smear or smudge or some sort of problem, and I've got more of a guarantee to get these windows clean and dry. Whereas water-fed pole, they'll stay wet, and you go to either the next part of the job or you go on to another job, and you just have to hope that the job has been done. I don't have to snag on car tires, wheelie bins with my hose. I don't have to take the equipment in and out like I would do with a work belt. It's just so much more efficient and effective the way that I work. And it's not just about zero detailing. It's about these things here. It's about using two hands. It's about having a good belt set up. It's about having enough soap and wetness on the washer. It's a multitude of things all added together that make me very efficient, very effective. Yeah, so that's why I don't need water-fed pole. The only reason I'm going to need a water-fed pole is for inaccessible, dangerous windows to get to, if I don't want to keep going on the ladder all the time. Most of my jobs I don't use a ladder because they're all downstairs windows or quite high up downstairs windows, so I don't need a water-fed pole or a ladder, and or I'm working indoors. So yeah, you're not going to use a water-fed pole for working indoors. And as I've had for 12 years water-fed pole, I noticed the limitations that the water-fed pole has, but also squeegee work there are limitations as well. But I find there's more limitations with the water-fed pole than there is with the squeegee. So I focus on squeegee work, and I surpassed everybody in terms of using squeegees, and that's why I'm here telling you what I do, because what I do is obviously levels above others on YouTube. So one more question. What was it? I haven't written it down. Washer, dog ear, water-fed pole. Let's leave it like that. I've got a few more questions, but I can't really think off the hand, and I don't want the video to go on and on. Yeah, so anybody who's complaining about the excess These are my windows, so I don't have to worry too much about being too picky with cleaning these windows. I'll just take it off there, and hopefully those questions are answered are useful for people.